Welcome to Big Motors. This is my 1971 or 1972 Herter's Trail 1 mini bike. For the most part, nothing is original, none of the moving parts besides the front wheel. The fuel tank is original with holes. The frame's original. It's got a couple patches here and there. The motor that I'm using on this is a 5 horsepower Honda pressure washer motor. Okay, well, it comes standard with pressure washers. So the original mini bike also came with a 5 horsepower motor, so at least that's somewhat accurate. It has a centrifugal clutch. Yeah, is that what they call? No, not a centrifugal. It's a CVT. 2 pulleys and a belt. I have a little plastic fuel tank on this side that you can't see. We'll see later. But because the metal one has holes in the bottom, I tried to patch in the past. The metal is way too thin, and any sort of welding or anything like that just blows bigger holes. But it looks nice, so we're keeping it here. Anyway, this thing needs some stuff. It needs some stuff. Few problems. It's pointed directly into the rear shock and spring assembly, so we need to bend it out around this, probably extend it a little, because extend it a little. Also, it needs some sort of insulation, because I've burned my leg pretty bad on this one time, very bad. So I need to fix that so I don't burn my legs again. Ideally, even if you wear pants, it gets hot. So, that needs fixing. Other things, I need to address the intake manifold. Another square tube assembly that I've created. It just needs to be cleaned up, rust taken off, painted. Besides that, I need a kickstand. It's standing right now on a nice 1x6 or something like that. It looks like a 1x6. So, and it generally falls over if I don't lean it up against something, because kickstands prevent that, and it doesn't really have one. Or it has one, but it spins on the post because the design is terrible. I made it previously, so. Kickstand. Alright. Here's my original design for a kickstand. The plan, well, it sort of worked sometimes. I cut a coping saw that I had into this L wall that already had an L shape. I just cut it and used that as the stand itself, put a hole through it and a little pin so I could hold it with a string. And then the idea was to have these 2 clamps kind of hold it together. The problem with that is it slips. It slips, it's not a very good grip, and it just rotates around the frame. And so the plan is to build a better version of this. By that I mean probably build something, because I think this is galvanized. I actually have no idea what this is. I took it off over a dishwasher, this bracket. So I'm going to replace it with something that I can weld to the frame, and then it won't slip. So here's the idea for the kickstand. So instead of this ridiculous tube nonsense that didn't work, and if you know anything about kickstands, it's probably obvious to you. Anyway, that didn't work at all. Instead, I went with a much easier kickstand idea, which is literally a flat bar shaped into a right angle, if it focuses, with a little nub at the bottom to prevent the kickstand from going too far forward. And there you go. That's it. It works perfectly fine. It's a little hot because I welded the nut to the back, so I'm not touching it. But this works great. And since the left side of the bike is super busy, I'm going to throw this kickstand on the right side, on the wrong side. Because I was originally planning to put it on the left side, but it worked out because, again, like I just said, the right side is a little bit less busy. So there's more room, and it works out. So, oops, but also not oops. That looks terrible. Where's my brush? Try again. Alright, so now I'm taking off the intake manifold because it's gotten pretty rusty because I coated it with paint at one point, but I don't think I did a particularly good job. I just kind of sprayed it quickly, and it doesn't seem to be doing what I wanted to be doing, so here we are. Alright, take off the exhaust. Let's do that quickly. 11's too big. It's 10 millimeter. Yeah, it is. Okay. Now, I'm going to go back to trying to remove the intake manifold because the exhaust was in the way. Okay, boom. Manifold out. Needs sanding, needs cleaning, needs painting. So let's do that quickly. So, there it is. It's a little cleaner. I'm going to just put some self-etching primer on it and spray it. So if you're curious about the construction, I just took a large 1/8 inch steel bar, cut both the flanges, and then welded a big, well, big, by big I mean a square tube, small square tube in the middle. The welds, not very good. Anybody can do better, but it works. So, yeah. Here's my professional paint booth. I'm going to professionally tape off the holes and professionally ignore the remaining rust on this thing because there's a ton. If I paint over the rust, it's not there. Did I cover everything? That was quick. Huh? Okay. So I need to figure out a good way to bend this out and then this way. And then what I'm going to do, which I have a pipe for this. I have a cool piece of a bicycle that I got from my brother. Well, I got the bicycle from my brother. The piece of the metal that I got from the bike, I chopped off. But regardless, this will look nice, I think. Blades. Blades. Okay. Anyway, so something like this. I'm gonna bend this pipe out, bend it over, and then attach it to this pipe right here. So maybe probably have to have this pipe closer this way. And then maybe we could even figure out a way to mount it to this. Might not be necessary because this isn't super heavy and those bolts hold it pretty well. Alright, so I went ahead and nicely bent my exhaust pipe. Isn't that beautiful? So spent some time cleaning up the paint off the exhaust pipe so that it doesn't burn up. Spent a lot of time cleaning up the welds that still look bad, but this is generally the look that I think I was going for. Priming up the kickstand and all the bare metal that I created there. So that's going to be, I can paint that maybe tomorrow. Over here I've got the manifold painted a bright colored orange, and here's my exhaust. Just sprayed it with high temperature exhaust paint just to keep it from rusting. That's what it looks like. All right. Naturally, it turns out that I stripped the exhaust bolt. You know, it's impossible to get anything right. So I'm going to try to tap it out to something more fitting, hopefully. Let's see if this works. Should be pretty simple. It's a fairly small, fairly soft aluminum block, so it shouldn't be too hard. You can tell I didn't really want to pull the engine out of the bike to do all this, but probably would have saved me some time. Maybe not time, but would have saved me some struggle, that's for sure. Would have been a little cleaner. But then you have to disconnect the chain and disconnect the stuff and the other things and the cables and the nonsense and whatever. Never mind. This is easier. I take back what I said. Okay, let's do one. Is that too much? I don't know. I don't know how much is too much. I'm not a thread looker. Knower. Genius. Whatever they call them. People who know thread locker stuff. Sure. Is it too much? Probably. Is it too little? Could be. How much torque is too much torque? All right, now that I've cross-threaded and rethreaded these threads, sure. I'm just gonna turn these into studs because otherwise I'm gonna be dealing with this in the future. I'm gonna end up cross-threading it because it's soft aluminum and I'm not careful, so. Okay, wow. Should have worn safety glasses because I pelted myself in the eyes. Like twice. 3 times? Was it 3 times? Ouch. Nice, okay. That's pretty good. Let's. I'm not. Where did the second one go? I just had it. Okay, we're gonna turn it all around. Final step of this lovely project. This is like an exhaust wrap that I got from Bro. I think they recommend putting this in water, but it's pretty malleable. I think that's not going to be necessarily an issue. This probably wraps better around round tubes also, but again, we're not worried about that. Round tubes are for. Oh, look at that! It's like, and now it looks like a professional dentist bike. You know, tie this so it doesn't fall apart. Being hyper intelligent as I am, I just did that, and now it looks like I'm leaving the sharp side pointing up. Very smart. Alright, so now we get to find out whether or not everything that I've done so far to in this recent time has ruined the minibike, which could happen. Choke? No choke? Let's. Nice. Oops. Wow. I really need to tighten the brake. That's important, because otherwise we're really in trouble. I ended up messing around with the brake a little bit too much, and I ended up breaking the brake caliper. Anyway, so replaced it with a fancy new one. It cost $8. Re-welded the bracket because the bracket was actually fell off because the original welds were awful. So that's way more secure. New brake caliper actually works this time. I don't think the old one ever functioned properly. But, you know, now I can actually stop with the brake. I mean, I was able to stop before just by slowing down over a long period of time. But, hey, the brake works. I had to replace the cable too because I think the old brake cable that I was using was stretching every time I pulled it. So it didn't actually activate the old brake either. So there it is. I think that's pretty good overall. So other things that need to happen, I need to revisit the kickstand a little bit. I think it needs a little bit more better work, but that's an improvement. I mean, it functions for now, but room for improvement there. Some of the things that I want to do, a bunch of stuff still needs to happen on this thing. Other things that I still need to do, fuel tank needs to be addressed. I don't really like this fuel tank in this spot. I think it's weird. I mean, it works for now. But I would really love to get this actually holding fuel. That would be way cooler, but again, it is what it is. I do need to relocate the fuel pump. Right now it's on the transmission cover. Overall, mini bike functions flawlessly. The start's easy, runs well, actually stops. Kickstand holds for now. Does need minor work, but overall, really good. Oh yeah, front tire needs to be replaced. I think the exhaust could be bent in a little bit more. Bunch of, future improvements, maybe. Parting advice? I have nothing. Absolutely nothing. Goodbye.